Alright, hi guys. In order to do this center, you're going to need a dry erase marker and this multiplying decimals with models in a sleeve. Now this goes back a few topics, okay? This is topic 6, I believe. But we're going to kind of refresh our memory and see, maybe, you might have noticed, like I said, I needed help in it, but wow, I've grown a lot since topic 6, which wasn't all that long ago. Okay, so I have 4 problems that we're going to work on together. The first one, I'm going to write here. Okay, so the first thing is to make a smart estimate. Okay, for this I say, oh, well, that's pretty close to 1 times 2 is about 2. Awesome. The next thing is to read the problem. Now, to read the problem, I don't just mean to look at the problem. I mean to really, understand and comprehend the problem. So this is our problem, and this means 1 2/10 times 2, or, read it the other way. 2 of these. If I read it that way, that helps me think about the model. I want 2 of them. Well, 1 of them is 1 2/10. Isn't that 1 of them? That's 1 2/10. I want 2 of them. So here, I just did it once, but what if I were to do it again? How about I'll put 1 whole here and the second group of 2/10 here. So now I did 2 of them, and let's see how much I get. I've got 1 whole, 2 whole, and 2/10 plus 2/10 is 4/10. So when I did that, I got 2 whole and 4/10. Now let me check with standard algorithm and make sure I'm on the right track with that. 1 2/10 times 2. More digits go on the top. Even though it's a smaller number, more digits on the top. Not 2 places after the decimal, silly. 1 places after the decimal, or 1 place after the decimal, 0 places after the decimal, so 1 plus 0, my answer will have 1 place after the decimal. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, and there's 1 place right there after the decimal. Now, checking space or justifying, whatever that last step is that you want to call it, it's really also making sure your answer is reasonable. Okay, so my estimate was 2, and I got 2 4/10, and does that make sense? And in this case, yes, it does. I am very firm and solid. I feel good about that being the right answer. What I want you to do now is I am going to give you a problem, and I want you to pause the video and try to do all of these steps without watching me, and then just press play again when you're ready to watch me to see if you did it right. So go ahead, pause now. Okay, welcome back. So, a smart estimate for this. So, a smart estimate, you might have made this, you might have done something really simple and just said 1 times 4 is about 4. Or some of you are getting comfortable with the decimals, and you actually might have been able to kind of solve this and said, wait a minute, and you're kind of doing step 2 here also, where you're reading and saying, wait a minute, this means 4 of these. 4, and this is if I read that, that's actually a half. 4 halves. Wait a minute, 4 halves is 2 whole, I think. So your estimate might have actually been your answer. Next, so we did read the problem. Next, modeling it. 4 of these, and these are 5/10. We said or a half. So 4 of them. Well, okay, here's 1 of them. Here's 2 of them. Here's 3 of them, and here's 4 of them. So when I do 4 of those, I get 1 2 whole. Let me just double check with the algorithm, because that's always a good backup. More digits go on top, not the bigger number, more digits. There's 2 digits here and only 1 here. 1 place after the decimal, 0. My answer is going to have 1 place after the decimal. Okay, 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2, and 1 place after the decimal. So I've got 2 whole. 2 whole, 2 whole. My standard algorithm and my estimation and my model all match, so I am in good shape. Alright, the next one, multiplying decimals, and now I'm doing kind of a new kind of problem, because this is decimal times decimal. But don't be afraid of it, you can still do it. A smart estimate. For smart estimate, I might do something simple like, okay, that's close to 1, and that's close to a half, and half of 1 is a half. I should really put the estimation symbol to remind me that's just my estimate. So again, I read that kind of, I said, well, that's like a half of 1 is a half, right? If you have 1 pizza, a half of that is a half. But that's not my real answer. That's just my smart estimate. Okay, so read the problem. Here's the real problem. Let me read it. I need 8/10 of 4/10. Okay, so 8/10 of 4/10. So it's kind of like a part of a part. So I must have 4/10. See how I showed 4/10? And I need 8/10 of the 4/10. So that means my answer is this part where they overlap into here. Okay, and let's see what my answer is. So it's 4 hundredths, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. 32 of these little boxes, which are 32 hundredths. I think my answer is 32 hundredths based on the model. Let me check standard algorithm. 8/10 times 4/10. 1 place after the decimal, 1 place after the decimal. My answer is going to have 2 places after the decimal. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 0 is 0. Plus 3 is 3. And if I multiply that 0 out, by the way, I'm just going to get more zeros. So I can stop here. 2 places after the decimal. That means that's after the decimal. That means that's after the decimal. So my decimal must go here. So 32 hundredths. Hey, it matches my answer that I got with my model. And wait a minute. My answer, my estimated, my smart estimate was half, or 5/10. Is 5/10, and think about it like money, is 50 cents close to 32 cents? Yeah, that's pretty darn close. So my answer is justified and reasonable. All right, last problem, last one, hang in there. And this one I'm going to ask you to do by yourself and then pause the video. So go ahead. All right, welcome back. My smart estimate, I said, well, this is kind of like a half of a half. And guys, when I thought about a half of a half, I'll just do it here real quick. Oops. Let me write half real quick. When I thought about a half of a half, if you think about a half a pizza, so I have a half, there it is, and then I take half of that half, guys, that is 1/4, or 25 hundredths. If you didn't get that far, that's okay, but I want you to try to think like that. Okay, reading the problem. So now back to the real problem. 6/10 of 5/10. Okay, so I have 5/10, and I'm doing 6/10 of the 5/10. So my answer is this overlap, which ends up being, if you count it, 30 hundredths. Or another way to say 30 hundredths is just 3/10. 30 honeys is the same as 3/10. Okay, now standard algorithm. 6/10 times 5/10. 1 place after, 1 place after. My answer has 2 places after. So 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 0 is 0. Plus 3 is 3. And 2 places after the decimal, I've got 30 hundredths, or 3/10, which matches, and I'm good. You are done, and you can move on to early finisher.